Um, Unlocking gut health. This is a massive topic, actually. So if this is the first time that you're coming onto a webinar, far out, what a night to join. You're going to love it. You're going to hear some things that push the boundaries tonight, but I'm going to tell you nothing but truths and things that are going to help you move forward. So let's kick straight into it. Who am I? Well, for those of you who don't know me or haven't met me before, my name is Taryn. I'm not going to blabber on for ages about me, but I've been 15 years in the health and supplement industry, and I can tell you right now, by far, the hemp industry has been the most compelling, the most life-changing. It's been an awesome time. I have been a health coach and I specialize in hormone optimization. So I worked out of two gyms, half the time in one and the other half in another, working with two very different client bases, working specifically on nutrition. I have been now working with hemp for 5 years. So we are into our fifth year. And we have had a lot of great results with hemp, which obviously is why it has been my favorite supplement to work with. So I'm going to be sharing with you more about that tonight, which is going to be exciting. I now spend a lot of time educating health professionals. I'm also on the road a lot. There are naturopaths and herbalists all around New Zealand who are hanging out to know about hemp, and the education is just not as readily available as it is for doctors. And so I spend a lot of time doing that. In fact, I looked at the calendar and I saw that we had 22 trips this year. So that's a lot, considering there's not that many weeks in a year, right? I also am a mum, so I got two boys, a 3-year-old and almost 9-year-old. And they are as cute as pie, but man, have they got energy to burn. Okay, so now let's just talk about what you guys are going to get out of tonight. Well, first of all, I would love to share with you some results. If you are new to hemp, this might be the first that you're hearing about it. You may have heard of people who have used hemp before, and you know it's working for them, but you don't understand why. It may be something that you're exploring for the first time or that you are already using and you want to know why it is working so well. So what I want you to just take notice of is just the different things that people are getting great results with. So Marie says huge difference in reducing osteoarthritis pain in hands and knees. So great for pain relief. Nikki says also been using the drops, but as well the balm. So it can be applied topically for joint relief. And then we've got Jackie. So Jackie, as a family of 3, we've found this oil has really helped with our ailments, chilblains, endo, anxiety. So that is like a range of just completely different things. So take notice of that. Kathy has fibromyalgia and arthritis, which affects the spine. So Kathy's autoimmune, as well as endometriosis, which was autoimmune. So if you are autoimmune, then by golly, you picked the right webinar to come onto. If I stop, it's just because I've got to let people in as they arrive. Okay. So, yeah, Kathy was a little skeptical as to how, whether it was the placebo effect or not, which is hilarious. And then we've got Chris. So Chris has been using the pain for, been using the drops and the balm for arthritis. But this is cool because Chris was able to drop from 6 to 8 Panadol a day to none. All right. So reducing medication. So if you're here and you've been looking for an alternative to taking medication, you're definitely in the right place. If you are on medication and you're wanting to manage the side effects with your body, then also in the right place. Maybe you're on medication and you are not getting great results from even the medication that you're taking, then again, in the right place. So Kay talks about using this product for pain and for sleep. So quite a range of things that we've looked at so far. So then aches and pains in most joints and hands, been taking for 3 weeks and have had no aches and pains for a week now. Highly recommend. So what is it about hemp that is getting such a wide range of results? Okay, amazing hemp drop, so calming and has been great for endo, PCOS, and fibromyalgia. So again, those chronic or autoimmune conditions. So when we're taking a look at the gut, what we want to consider is that the gut is not just one sole problem. Okay, if you in all my years, I've never met someone who has had symptoms in just one area or in one way. So someone might say, "Oh, I'm having real problem with pain," and then I'll say, "Oh, well, what else is going on?" And I find the more I ask, the more I'm seeing other ripple-on effects or the ways that um, the body is being affected. So symptoms of gut uh, inflammation, of when your gut is being affected in any way, shape, or form. And I want you to consider that this is relevant no matter where on the spectrum you are. Okay. So whether it is that you have a autoimmune condition, or whether you are just getting like copious amounts of gas, um, or you don't know why you burp so often and you're bloated all the time. Okay, so whether you're on one side of the spectrum or the other, tonight is going to be relevant for you, whichever way you look at it. So I want you to just take a look at the symptoms that we're addressing here. When I talk about gut-brain axis issues, I'm talking about mood fluctuations. Okay, so how well you manage stress, whether you're at one end of the scale and you manage stress not so well, or whether you're suffering from anxiety or depression. Autoimmune conditions again, so a bunch of those symptoms, but also chronic fatigue, chronic pain, so swelling, inflammation, redness, along also with other gut specific symptoms. All right. Then we look at sleep disorders. Whether we're having trouble falling asleep or staying asleep, or whether we are looking at sometimes I sleep really well, but then, stress gets the better of me and I can't sleep, or whether we're looking at I have insomnia and I can't even remember the last time I had a good night's sleep. I'm actually shocked by how many people go to bed, but how little people are actually sleeping. Okay, so what kind of treatments are typically used to address these things? Well, within medications, and I've just taken a snapshot, guys. This isn't even the full extent of it, but we've got non-steroidal drugs, diet change, physical therapy, antidiarrheal medications, laxatives, antispasmodics. In more severe cases, like your irritable bowel diseases, you've got immune system suppressors. Then we look at real specific diets like FODMAP for IBS, or specific carbohydrate diets for IBD, increasing fiber intake for constipation. So these are very common ways of treating gut distress, probiotics. But tonight, this is how we want to address all of that. Okay, we're going to look into why you should consider hemp. I'm going to talk to you about the endocannabinoid system. So what that is, why you need to know about that system of the body. Then we'll look at what difference does diet actually make. And then I'll talk to you about, I'm actually going to give you a real good offer at the end. So if you want to stick around to the end and hear that good offer, awesome. Okay, so why you should consider hemp. Well, first of all, hemp that contains cannabinoids. Okay, so we're not talking hemp seed oil. We're talking about so Cure Plus, full spectrum hemp oil, contains cannabinoids. Now, cannabinoids in hemp are what give you predictable relief, okay, like medication. I'm just gonna see if I can stop your video there, Brianna. Okay, cool. All right. So cannabinoids give you predictable results, right, like medication. So when you take a medication, you want that predictable result. It knows where the pain is and it goes to the pain and then it stops the pain. Now, when you're looking for other solutions, it's difficult to want to. Okay, the desire is there because we don't want to hurt our bodies. In fact, we're trying to do everything we can to preserve it. But the thing is that the medications get the job done. Okay, so I totally get it. But unlike medication, hemp doesn't destroy the liver, the kidneys, the gut, or any part of you in the process of getting relief. So another reason to consider hemp. Hemp can help you reduce and in many cases remove medication from your lifestyle. So let's address the first one, that hemp can give predictable relief like medication. Now, here's why. Medications, they interact directly with receptors in the body. And this direct interaction produces a predictable and targeted and potent effect, and hemp works in that same way. So I've put a picture to the screen here. You can see that there's a picture of a cell, which is the circle. All right. And then we've got these little keys that are floating around. Okay. Don't worry so much about the word agonists. Agonist just means there's a compound that's been introduced into the body to do something. Okay. Now, in this case, let's say it is serotonin. And when serotonin is in the body, it's looking for a very specific shaped receptor to fit into like a lock and key. Now, the cell that the serotonin based medication is looking for is a perfect fit. Okay. And so it can only plug into those receptors, which is why medications work so well, because the hole is exactly the right fit for the shape of the key. So serotonin receptor, serotonin. That's why you get such a great result with drugs. Okay, now, oh, hang on a second. Where do I go? Okay, so they're providing a synthetic substance. Okay, so it is synthetic, but looks similar to the substance that you make. So if we're using serotonin as the example, so serotonin is the natural substance compound that you make. And when they're introducing a synthetic version, it is the same shape as the natural compound you make. So whenever they're making drugs, they're trying to look for, or in one of two scenarios is the way that they work. But in this scenario I'm describing, they're looking to make a drug that looks the same in terms of its shape or as the compound you make to fit into the receptor. And that is how it provides such onto it relief most of the time. Okay, no, not all of the time is it a hit, and there are other factors involved there, but most of the time, which is why when we take medications, we know that we can get a predictable result. Okay, the other way that they work is that they provide, the drugs are a synthetic substance, but it blocks the keyholes. Okay, so if we're using the example of serotonin, your body is producing serotonin, but it's not producing enough. So we want to block the keyholes, so the receptors, so that more of your own natural serotonin can accumulate and then provide the relief that you're after. So this is the two most common ways that medications are working. And the point is that they're working on a receptor system. And that's what makes it so effective, is how specific it is. It's designed to work based on how well the key fits into the keyhole. Okay, so how does hemp work? Well, hemp's so cool because it does the same thing. Okay, it is working on a receptor system. So it provides a natural substance called cannabinoids, right? And there are hundreds of cannabinoids in hemp. In fact, we know about 400 of them. There's more, but those are the ones we know about. The big players, the prominent cannabinoids we know as THC or CBD, if that's familiar to you. But that compound or those compounds look so identical to the natural compounds that you make that they too fit into the appropriate receptor and then provide relief. Okay, which is why we can say that hemp gives a real, or that cannabinoids give a good, targeted relief like medication. Works in the same receptor keyhole scenario. Now, natural supplements. Now, look, I'm not dissing supplements. Supplements take us a very long way. So I'm not bagging on supplements. I've had a huge supplement drawer. But this is the thing. Supplements have such a large and complex variety of compounds, okay, that can have a less direct effect on the body, as in they're not working on that receptor-based system. And so because of that, those effects that you're looking for, so for example, pain relief, they're not always, that's not always going to be a connect, okay? Because out of the, let's say, 15 different compounds that are in one supplement, and that's generous. There's usually a lot more. But out of the 15 different compounds, your body may only be deficient or slightly deficient in maybe one or two of them. It may be very deficient in one or two of them, and you notice a good effect, but you may only be slightly deficient in one, two, or even three of them, which is why sometimes you can take these things and you don't notice that you feel any different. It's like chucking spaghetti at a wall and then going, all right, let's see what sticks. Okay, so it's a lot more indirect. All right, so let's just summarize that real quick. So medications, they typically have a direct and targeted effect due to specific receptor interactions. Natural supplements often work indirectly. They can be less predictable due to the complexity of their compounds and the way that your body uses them. Hemp, the reason why hemp is so incredible, it's because it combines aspects of both. So it works in two ways. Okay, so it's awesome like a medication in that it binds and works on a receptor-based system. But it also works indirectly like supplements, and it considers why your body is actually out of balance in the first place. And it starts to work in that other way, okay, like natural supplements do. So we get this multifaceted, it's a win-win, all right? It's a win-win without destroying your body in the process. So not destroying your body in the process is really key. It's actually more key than what you realize. Okay, and by the end of tonight, you're going to know why I'm saying that and how important it is in terms of your, not just your long-term wellness, but how you feel right now, and what difference that's going to make to you actually just in the short term. Okay, so let's just have a look at these symptoms again. All right, you've got the mood fluctuations, anxiety, depression. You've got the autoimmune conditions. So then we've got symptoms like fatigue, muscle pain, swelling, sleep disorders, so difficulty falling or staying asleep, immune system dysfunction. All right. And when we take a look at the different side effects of taking medications for these kinds of symptoms, then the list is quite long. Okay. Sometimes we might be gauging, all right, well, maybe it's just okay for right now, but in the long term, what you don't realize is the disruption that that's causing to the gut. So if we look at the side effects and just hone in on the gut, we're looking at quite a few. Now, we might go, oh my gosh, peptic ulcers, gastrointestinal bleeding, far out. That's hard out. But what about bacterial overgrowth? That's an area we're going to be focusing on tonight. Fungal overgrowth. These things here, they're actually much more significant than you know. So depending on where you are on the spectrum, whether you're at sort of I haven't been taking medication for very long, or I haven't been at the worst end of my symptoms for very long, you'll be at the beginning stages, and that's fantastic. Some of you have been in a situation for quite some time and you are really at a loss about what to do, and you would be resonating with maybe quite a few of these symptoms. So what I want to do now is I want to just park that to the side, and I want to just chat to you about the endocannabinoid system. This is the system of the body, okay, that we're talking about, the receptor-based system. So I want to just let you see it so that you because then you can go away and you can also do your own research on it. Before I do, I want to just get you to take a look at a couple of things. I said to you at the beginning to just take note of how many different reasons that people are using full spectrum oil. Now, when people are using our oil, it's helping their body in so many different ways, but it's also helping one person's body in so many different ways. Okay, so anxiety has gone way down, sleeping really well, energy levels picking up too. I thought this was great because they were not only comparing it to a prescription, but it just shows that the high doses that come in a prescription are actually not as necessary as what people think. Okay. In fact, she was using it for relief for her back, which has scoliosis, but it was making her irritable and grumpy. But she was finding here that she was getting that same relief, but without the irritability. So that's cool. Okay, Angela, Full spectrum drops have helped her to sleep, also stopped her being real itchy, also made the pain go away. She has Hodgkin's lymphoma, couldn't manage without them. Full spectrum oil for a couple of months, noticed not having way less hot flushes and less pain in her arthritic fingers and foot. So one person's body, but working on multiple different systems. Okay, so for pain, but also for heat. Interesting. Jill felt an immediate boost in energy and wellness. So she's 69, so that's cool. That's what you want to be feeling when you're 69. I can honestly say that the pain in my overall body has decreased dramatically in a short time. Okay, so what is the ECS? Well, the ECS is short for endocannabinoid system. Okay, so endo meaning endogenous, as in you make your own, right? Cannabinoid, as in those compounds that we find inside of the hemp plant, right? So the endocannabinoid system is a key component of our nervous system. So it is its own system in itself. Don't confuse it with the endocrine system, right? That's your hormonal system. No. It's its own system, okay? But it's really key to the nervous system, all right? And also the immune system, featuring receptors CB1 and CB2. Now, these receptors are crucial for transmitting important messages in the body. System plays a significant role in regulating various bodily functions, ensuring that everything operates in harmony. All right, starting to make sense as to why we were seeing such a range of improvements. Now, this is how the system of the body looks. All those little dots are the receptors. Now, you can see, and this different images depict it differently, but I chose this one because it shows you the two different colors of the receptors really clearly. Now, we can see that those CB1 receptors, which are the lighter pink, they are everywhere, but they cluster in the brain mostly. So those CB1 receptors, they regulate the central nervous system. Your CB2 receptors, which is the darker pink, they're also everywhere, right? Also attached to your organs, but they accumulate largely in the digestive system. So they're actually your immune receptors. Look at the cluster of them in the digestive system, right? I mean, they can't even isolate the dots in the same way. That's how largely they cluster there. Okay, so keep hold of this picture in your mind. Now, the ECS acts as a group of, I can't see that, this is in the way, I don't know how to get that to go. A group of endogenous cannabinoid receptors, ligands, and enzymes. Okay, so basically what it's saying is that it is located in the brain and the peripheral nervous system, okay? And its job is to regulate all the other systems of your body. So you are made up of another 11 systems: cardiovascular, digestive, nervous system, endocrine system, and so on. So the endocannabinoid system's key role is to help regulate the other 11 systems of the body. So I like to think of her as the mother, okay? All right, so let's have a look at its job in terms of immune balance. Okay, it prevents excessive immune response that can lead to inflammation and tissue damage, but it also helps maintain immune homeostasis. So homeostasis means to keep in balance, and it does this by regulating the activity of various immune cells and also their responses to pathogens. So they could be viruses and other bad bacteria or opportunistic bacteria that are floating around. Your cannabinoid system's job is to help regulate the activity of that in terms of your immune response. The ECS acts as a bridge between the nervous system and the immune system, and it facilitates the communication between these. So we've heard of the gut-brain connection. All right, did you know that the cannabinoid system was the bridge between that gut-brain connection? So we want the health of the endocannabinoid system to be on point. We want it to be as healthy and functional as possible. Can you think of what the consequences would be just in terms of your daily wellness? Okay, never mind your health at a much deeper level, just daily. If it's regulating all these things and the health of it is poor, then that's not good for pretty much everything. Okay, so due to its regulatory role in the immune system, The ECS is a target for cannabinoid-based therapy. So basically what that means is they are looking at the way that these drugs are fitting in, these cannabinoids are fitting into receptors. And just like how they make other drugs, they're also trying to synthesize or make synthetic versions of it, because when it's synthetic, it's then patentable, right? So that's why they try and do that. But the point is that they're looking at using cannabinoid-based therapy for various inflammatory and autoimmune conditions such as MS, rheumatoid arthritis, and inflammatory bowel disease. Okay, so it plays an important role in protecting the gut from inflammation. So I'm going to go through these studies real quick. I'm not going to spend much time on them. I've put them here so you can see that there are plenty of studies out there that are just directly relating to digestive and immune conditions. I just wanted to address here cannabis. Now, cannabis is the family name of hemp, okay? And then you've got higher THC strains, which have the psychoactive effect, and you've got lower THC strains, which we usually refer to hemp, okay? So cannabis includes both kinds. So it's not just talking about THC or the psychoactive version of cannabis. Think of it like citrus is the family name to oranges and lemons. All right, so two separate fruits, but both in the same family. All right, so in the past centuries, different preparations of hemp or cannabis, marijuana, have been used for the treatment of GI disorders, such as GI pain, gastroenteritis, and diarrhea. Okay, so we can see that they are using it and looking at making other drugs that work on the cannabinoid system that will bind to the receptors in the same way for, frankly, almost everything, okay? A range of different GI disorders, inflammatory bowel disease, Crohn's, functional bowel diseases, irritable bowel syndrome, and also motility-related disorders. So you could basically take any gut condition or lot of symptoms, and you could type it into Google and look for studies and find your own if you're wanting to go there. Okay, the other point I wanted to make is that the CB1 and CB2 receptors, they address both kinds of pain. Okay, so we've got neuropathic pain, which can be described as like your sharp shooting pain, but it's also when the nerves are themselves damaged. But then we've also got the nociceptive pain, which is more your inflammatory kind of pain. So that's cool because this one product or this one kind of oil deals with both kinds of pains. Okay. All right. So predominantly we see that the CB2 receptors are expressed by immune cells. Okay. The ECS was discovered mid-1990 by researcher Dr. Ralph Mechelem. It was found that the ECS is an integral part of our physiologies, responsible for maintaining order and balance across all other systems. So these are all the other systems. Did you know that the endocannabinoid system wasn't even allowed to be taught about until about 2 years ago because of its association with cannabis, right? Now that you know, if you didn't know before, how important the system of the body was, isn't it crazy to just think how little it was taught because of its association with the plant? A system that regulates your body's internal systems and functions. Okay, even I've got a list here of all the, not even all, but just a snapshot of the areas that it can help with: metabolism, pain, appetite, sleep, mood, movement, temperature, memory, and learning. So as you're going through this list, I just want you to think, just depending on how damaged the gut is or to the degree that it is under distress, right, determines whether we're in an autoimmune state or whether we're on the way there or whether we're quite far away from that. But you can see that it makes sense as to why you don't really get situations where you've got a person with one symptom, okay? The body, if one part of the body is under pressure, it puts pressure on another part of the body, which puts pressure on another part of the body, which is why we see people who have autoimmune diseases, okay? So multiple autoimmune conditions. Isn't it key for the endocannabinoid system to be functioning well, since it is responsible for looking after all those systems? Okay, we're going to shift gears now, and we're going to talk about what difference the diet makes. Okay, what you eat actually does make a difference. You know, a lot of you, I don't know where you're at, but a lot of you will be in a situation where you're like, far out, I'm 100% committed to whatever I put in my mouth. I'm so conscious of it. Others, you know, you can relate to have been there in that space before. Um, some of you will not be in that place because simply you can't put energy there right now because it's too much and you don't want to focus on it right now, and that's okay. But the point is that what you eat does make a difference, and it makes more of a difference than what you realize. Most people wake up in the morning, they get up and they go through the routine of taking their medication or their supplements, okay? But then they eat a meal that keeps it necessary for them to be taking the medication or the supplements, okay? So we try and correct the problem, and then we eat in a way that's actually causing the problem, right? Not realizing what we're doing. Now, I'm not just talking about unhealthy foods either, okay? But what you eat determines whether your body produces symptoms or not, right? That's how much it matters, because what you eat determines whether your body produces symptoms or not. Okay. Now, if we think about how many of us can relate to having hormone imbalances, it's not typically a thing that men would think about, but if you're a woman listening to this, you will think, my gosh, I know my hormones are out of balance and have been for quite some time. I know that some of you will be going through menopause, and so there's a direct correlation to hormone imbalance right there. But even the healthy foods you're eating make inflammation worse, which causes stress hormones to flood the body too often, which then causes further hormone imbalances. All right, so take a look at these symptoms, all right, and just, you know, you'll know what you're experiencing, but the range of these symptoms is very wide. And what I'm wanting to tell you is this: any of these experiences of these symptoms that you are experiencing, you'll have one or both of these things. You'll either have a bacteria imbalance in your gut, which we call dysbiosis, or you'll have a leaky gut. Okay, and some of you will have both. If you are autoimmune, then you have both. Okay, so you can know that you fall into that category. Okay, so for those of you who have looked into this already, this is not new information. That's cool, but if you are not too sure what I'm talking about, usually we get it's called good bacteria and bad bacteria, but your gut has to house both bacteria. Okay, so we'll refer to it as bad bacteria, but it's really just harmful bacteria when it's in an overgrowth stage, so when there's too much of it. And this kind of bacteria are particularly opportunistic. So depending on what you're putting into your mouth determines whether these harmful or bad bacteria are going to be in an opportunistic environment or not. Now, the balance of bacteria matters, okay? It matters so much. Inflammation, it is the single determining factor as to whether your body can heal or not, all right? So I want you to think about it like this. When you think about when you bite your mouth, all right, and its potential to heal is actually very quick, right? Unless you keep biting your mouth, right? So this is kind of like the situation of it's oversimplified, but it's the situation that we can think of when we're eating in a way that is causing inflammation, is that the environment that is being created is not one that is conducive for healing. Now, bacteria imbalance does cause inflammation, and every single thing that you put into your mouth is either feeding the bacteria or starving it to death, okay? So just think about that for a second. Every single thing that you put into your mouth is either feeding the bad bacteria or starving it. Now, remember that I said that what you put into your mouth determines whether you have symptoms or not. So the bacteria imbalance is the key issue here that we're dealing with at the front end, okay? Whether you also have a leaky gut or not, bacteria imbalance is what you will have if you are experiencing symptoms. Okay, so let's just take a look at a healthy digestive system. You will have seen this before, so I'm not going to bore you, but I'm going to get straight to the point here. A healthy digestive system is how you can really gauge whether someone is in fantastic health or not. Okay, because the point is that a healthy digestive system is when the gut can absorb nutrients from the food well, and and it can also break down fiber. Okay, now that is key. Now it's key because it determines whether you're able to have a healthy gut lining and whether your gut has the ability to repair. Okay, so very important. An unhealthy digestive system is when the gut can't absorb nutrients from food well and its ability to break down fiber is impaired. Now, this results in a thin gut lining, and that means that we're leading to the tissue being thin, therefore, its ability to be permeable is high, and that is leaky gut. Just in case you didn't know what leaky gut is, it's pretty straightforward, holes in the gut. Okay, so this is why this is important. Now, and this is also why this information can feel like it goes against the grain a little, because we've been sold that we need to be eating a high fiber diet. Now, I'm celiac. Okay, so this is like this is game changer for me, because not only am I autoimmune, but celiac is like the problem is there, right? It's right there. Yeah. And for ages, I was managing it just with hemp, thinking, how come I am not moving forward here? Like, I'm managing my symptoms fantastic. It's great, but why can't I move forward? Right. And that was the most frustrating part. And here's why. When you eat, food's got to move through the stomach and then goes to the intestines, right? And then the bacteria determine whether how well that breaking down process goes. So the little villi, which are the hairs that line the digestive system, so these tiny little hairs, they then absorb the nutrients that come from your food. Now, when those nutrients are absorbed by the villi, and the amount of absorption is determined by the bacteria balance, so what the ratio is of good to bad, okay, then we get the undigested part of your food, which is the fiber. Now, the undigested part of your food then needs to be dealt with, right, by your bacteria. Now, if you have good bacteria, this is fantastic because it will cause a fermentation process. And when this fermentation process happens in a healthy gut with a good balance of bacteria, it produces a short chain fatty acid, which then contributes to and plays a key role in how well your gut can repair and the quality of the lining of your gut wall. Are you with me? Yeah, is this landing? If your gut bacteria is impaired, as in if you're here because you have symptoms, you have an imbalance of gut bacteria, which you probably already knew, right? And your gut can't the bacteria can't break down the fiber very well, yet you're being told to eat a high fiber diet. Now it's sitting there, right? And it can't ferment and produce this short chain fatty acid. So now you've got this weak gut lining, okay? And it's become permeable. The inflammation and the inflammatory environment that you are in is like you're constantly biting your mouth, okay? So every time you eat something that feeds that situation, right, now produces inflammation, which damages the lining of the wall, which is thin, which now makes it permeable. Okay, now some of you have holes. Okay, some of you are just, you're not there yet, but by golly, you're experiencing some really just uncomfortable symptoms, right? You can't understand why you bloat. You can't understand why. So, okay. Um, Nick, you need to not use your headphones, else it is going to connect to the computer. Okay. All right. This is a bit of a blown up picture as to how that looks. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sound went for a minute because my husband put his earphones on, AirPods on, which hooked up to the sound and then took over. But that's okay. You didn't miss anything that was crucial information. I was just reiterating. So I've put to I took a like a blown up version picture of what I just explained so you can see it. Okay. So we can see the lining of the gut wall. We can see these junctions here. See how they're nicely tight together, right? Nice and tight together, no gaps. These little fingers here, they're the villi, right? So here we've got the good bacteria, that's fantastic. Okay, and we've got the food particles, awesome, because none of them are getting through. So we've got a nice, healthy digestive system there. See the blood flow? See how nothing is in there except your blood? That is ideal, right? But if we look over here to the right, you've got these junctions, okay? So we've got potential pathogens, right, that can now enter into that gap there. Now we've got toxins, we've got bad bacteria that are slipping, we've got gluten, right? See the gluten? Now that can slip through. Gluten in this environment, yeah, not causing a problem. Yeah, in this environment, problem. Yeah. Now here's the hole, okay, and here are the things, okay, that are not blood. Here are the things that are not blood, not supposed to be in your bloodstream. This is leaky gut. That is autoimmune. Okay. Now there are a lot of thoughts, a lot of conversations about which came first. All right. Was I autoimmune first and then I had the gut conditions, or did I have gut conditions and then was I autoimmune? You know, you can be predisposed, genetically predisposed to having autoimmune conditions for sure. But here's the thing. Autoimmune symptoms do not exist in a healthy digestive system. Just don't. Okay. So when you have these foods that are then floating around in your bloodstream, guess what? Your body's immune system switches on and starts to attack it, right? It's trying to attack the food that is out of your digestive system, but instead it's attacking your tissue. Okay, it's attacking your tissues amongst a bunch of other things that is not supposed to attack, which is where we get all these different names for all these different autoimmune conditions. Okay, so very, very important to address on your journey. Now, the last picture I showed you, I found this cool picture, which is the gain of the gut. Now see these little villi. Now see the CB1 and CB2. Isn't that cool? You got cannabinoid receptors on the villi. Okay, so your cannabinoid receptors, this is where we want them, right? They actually directly play a role in how well your gut is able to absorb nutrients, right? Fending off pathogens, fending off bacteria, bad opportunistic bacteria, right? So we want cannabinoid receptors right there. I thought that was really cool. I thought you might want to see that. Okay, so let's just go through a quick summary. So we spoke about drugs, that the medications, they know exactly where to go to turn off the problem. But supplements can be like, not all the time, but can be like throwing spaghetti at the wall and just hoping you've got to connect, okay? Hemp works like medication, but without destroying the body in the process. What you put into your mouth directly feeds the problem or starves it. Symptoms that you are having, they are in direct relationship to the health of your gut. It's not a maybe, and it doesn't matter where you are in terms of wanting to do something about it right now or not being able to face that. The truth is that it doesn't matter where you're at, because what you put in your mouth is actually a direct relationship there, and you just need to know that. If you're saying, oh, I'm just going to mute your line there, Brianna. If you're experiencing discomfort, then your diet's got to change if you want to be out of discomfort fully. Now, what I mean by that is that some of you will be looking for a solution right now and you just need a natural alternative. For whatever reason, you're just not in a situation where you want to do something about your diet right now. And I totally understand. Like everyone has been there. I've been there multiple times. There will come a time where you are just at your wit's end and you will literally do whatever to get out of the situation you're in. And maybe then is a time. But for right now, you're not there. You just need something to like help you, actually help you, right? And you want something natural that is effective and actually works. And so hemp is that for you. Okay, but when you're eating in a way that really serves you, discomfort is not there at all. Okay, so if you think about it, think why you are taking the medications, but also think why you are even taking supplements or hemp, right? Okay, healing occurs when we remove inflammation. Unless we can correct that inflammatory environment, healing cannot occur. Okay, it's not because you have gut or autoimmune conditions, because those symptoms are simply not there. All right, when you have a healthy, functioning digestive system. Energy is a result of a healthy digestive system. Symptoms and a gut that is healed, they don't go together. Okay, they just find me a case of it. I'd love to know, but as far as I know and have seen in my 15 years, they do not go together. So guys, that's it for tonight. I hope that you got a lot out of that. I want to introduce to you a couple of options. So I've got the Cured by Hemp program starting. I'm going to start it on the 6th of June. So it's going to be a group that I'm going to be working with. This is for you if you're at a time where you're ready to do something. You're just like, I want to do something with my diet. I want to try hemp. I want to do it all. It's going to be 30 days and it's $300 per month. Now, you might need to be in this group for more than a month, and that's great. You can. But some of you will only need to be in it for a month, and that is also great. So if you are interested in this, it starts on the 6th of June. And you can email me at taryn@tricure.com. If you're in a situation where you don't have a pen and paper right now, that's okay. Just go onto our website and you can email the support email. If you are wanting to try our hemp oils, obviously I recommend that. And I'm just going to give you the prices quickly. So you've got 3 sizes, 15 mil, 30 mil, and a 50 mil. Basically, it's just, it gets better in price per mil the bigger bottle you go. So the smaller bottle is $460, 430, 460 ml. Yes, 460 ml. The 30 ml bottle is $3.30 a ml, and the 50 ml bottle is $2.98 per ml. Okay, that'll last you 3.5, and for some of you 4 months. So that is definitely the best value for money. So I just wanted to put that there. I also did mention about the relief drops. Okay, so some of you in the reviews, you would have seen the relief drops. This is the topical version of the internal drops. All right, the internal drops you take under the tongue. The relief balm is for direct relief that you rub on the area that is sore. Okay, so it could be pain like joint pain. It could be migraines, and so you'd rub them here. It could be digestive discomfort, and so you rub it there. Now, I always recommend internal over topical, always, okay? Because you want to support the system systemically, support your whole endocannabinoid system to support the rest of you. But if it's pain related, I do suggest topical as well, because part of your endocannabinoid system is on your skin. Okay, so all the receptors, the cannabinoid system also includes receptors that sit all over the surface of your skin. And so very effective relief to apply it topically too. Okay, so if it's pain related, I suggest both. Hemp seed oil and maca. This is for you if you also have hormone imbalances, and I'm talking about like that'll be pretty well all of you if you're here. But if you can identify with that, right, and you know that you are going through anything menopausal, or if your energy is low. Now, the other thing about this particular product is this one here extends the time that those cannabinoids stay in your body before your body breaks them down. Okay, so say for example, when we take, let's say, paracetamol, we've got to take it every 4 to 6 hours, right? Because the body's breaking it down. When we take hemp seed oil and maca, it extends the time that they stay active in your body, right? It also is helping with the absorption. Okay, so the lining of all the receptors that are in your body are fat. Okay, the protective layer that sits over them is fat. Also, all your nerve endings and nerves, fat. Right, so very, very key. So those are the products that I'm going to recommend that might help you navigate too much more on help you navigate what else is on the website. Cure Plus, hemp seed oil and maca, and the Cure Relief Balm. Okay, and then if you are wanting to address your diet as well, then also join this group. So guys, that's it for me tonight. I'm going to leave it here. If you've got questions, you can get hold of me. You can email me. You can reach out to me on Messenger through the group. That's fine. And I'll speak to you then. But otherwise, thank you so much for coming tonight. And I'll catch you guys on the next one.